Marine experts often point out that we know more about the moon in the sky than we do about the deep blue sea beneath us. No human can swim to these extreme depths, no telescope can peer to the ocean floor, and only a handful of people have ever reached the very bottom. Exploring such uncharted territory comes with immense risks, from deadly creatures to unsolved mysteries. Here are 15 things that prove the ocean is as fascinating as it is terrifying. Number 15. The deadly blue hole. With the sport of freediving growing in popularity since Luc Besson's 1988 film The Big Blue, which brought it to the world's attention, thousands continue to flock here each year, unperturbed by the increasing number of plaques that hang on the cliff opposite to mark those who never returned. The Blue Hole is a 390-foot deep sinkhole 5 miles north of Dahab. Its nickname is the Diver's Cemetery. Researchers say this giant underwater sinkhole was made by the collapse of a cavern formed during the glacial ages tens of thousands of years ago. Now, this swallow hole is one of the world's most famous diving zones. The hole forms a perfect circle in the midst of a coral reef known as the Lighthouse Reef, and also a section of the Belize Barrier Reef Reserve System. More than 984 feet across and 410 feet deep, researchers consider the Great Blue Hole the largest of its kind and discovered huge stalactites, dripstone sheets, as well as columns inside the blue hole. Water levels in the surrounding areas of the sinkhole are so shallow where the coral often breaks the surface at low tide. What do you think? Great place for a swim or a dangerous dive into the unknown. Below 185 feet, the sea wall stops, revealing a cavernous 85-foot-long tunnel from the blue hole to the open ocean. Number 14. Toxic algae. Florida is well known for its year-round warm climate and beautiful sandy beaches. While beach tourism drives the state's economy, people who visit and live here are losing the long-standing beach trips that they cherish. Ongoing algal blooms, including red tides and toxic blue-green algae, are putting public health at risk and causing massive die-offs of fish, marine life, and sea turtles. Red tides were particularly devastating in 2017 and 2018, as coastal communities along the Gulf Coast of Florida suffered through an unusually persistent and toxic red tide that lasted for more than a year. Bloom conditions reached as far as the Atlantic coast late last summer. Public health was also affected as far as a mile inland through the release of airborne toxins from the blooms. Florida's governor declared a state of emergency, and beaches and several East Coast counties were closed over the 4th of July holiday weekend. Florida's phosphorus problem is so acute that it's created a divide between the agriculture industry in the center of the state and tourism hubs on the Atlantic Ocean and Gulf of Mexico. Coastal residents increasingly blame the agriculture industry for the mess, yet they insist they're not to blame. It's a messy and often deadly situation. Number 13. Spawn of Godzilla. These waters, centered chiefly on sandy shores, extend from Sagami Bay to Manazuru Cape. At the mouth of this river are found the only tidal mud flats, important settlement grounds for animals in the bay. Beasts like the megamouth shark, small-toothed sand tiger, frilled shark, goblin shark, bowmouth guitarfish, whale shark, and others appear with some frequency. But again, that doesn't explain this. Is it even alive? Suspended in its oceanscape, perfectly protected by the elements. Godzilla is a monster originating from a series of Japanese films. The legend first appeared in the 1954 film Godzilla and became a worldwide pop culture icon, appearing in various media, Hollywood films, and numerous video games, novels, comic books, and television shows. Godzilla has been dubbed the king of the monsters. Is this what we're looking at here? Is this an enormous, destructive, prehistoric sea monster, awakened and empowered by nuclear radiation? Cameras aboard the Hyperdolphin remotely operated vehicle captured this footage of something strange lurking on the ocean floor of Sagami Bay, southwest of Tokyo. Couldn't possibly be the spawn of the king of monsters. Number 12. Mysterious spear hunter. Footage shows a fish being hunted with a spear by a mystery figure hundreds of feet deep into the sea. This video was shot by a scientist while they checked the oil tank and capture a creature in the deepest ocean. Spearing a fish. Could there be a hunter under the waves that uses a spear to secure a meal? Like a spear-hunting merperson? In European folklore, mermaids and mermen were natural beings who, like fairies, had magical and prophetic powers. They loved music and often sang, luring sailors to their demise. Spearfishing isn't a sport that has strict depth rules, since there are no guidelines about how deep a diver should go. It usually depends on a diver's ability and preference. But at over 2,000 feet, it would be almost impossible to successfully hunt in those waters. Whatever's hunting this fish, it definitely isn't human. Additionally, the deeper you go, the higher the risk. With increased depth and pressure, the diver is more susceptible to oxygen toxicity because their body absorbs more oxygen. Oxygen toxicity can lead to life-threatening side effects like tunnel vision, nausea, loss of consciousness, and seizures. But is this the proof believers need to finally convince the world that spear-hunting mermaids actually exist? Number 11. Whirlpools. A whirlpool is a swirling water that's formed when two opposing currents meet. Powerful ones are mainly common in seas and oceans. Smaller whirlpools are common at the base of waterfalls and can also be observed in man-made structures such as dams. In oceans, they're mainly caused by tides and are capable of submerging large ships. You definitely don't want to swim in one of these. Notable oceanic whirlpools include those of Garofalo along the coast in southern Italy and of Messina in the strait between Sicily and Italy. As a strait located between Jura and Scarborough Islands in Scotland, the underwater topography of the area and the strong current conspired to create a legendary whirlpool. As the tides enter the strait, it speeds up and meets a variety of seabed features such as deep holes and rising pinnacles. The features come together to form the third largest in the world. Naruto Strait, located in Japan respectively, is known for a tidal whirlpool because it's narrow. Water rushes into it through the channel 4 times a day, creating whirlpools up to 66 feet in diameter. Now it's time for today's topic. Off the coast of Brazil, seasoned fisherman Carlos Mendes and his crew were out on their routine fishing trip when they noticed a massive dorsal fin slicing through the waves. At first, they assumed it was just a large great white, but something about it felt off. As the creature approached, its sheer size became evident. It was at least twice the size of their boat. But what truly sent chills down their spines was its unnatural movements. Unlike any shark they had ever seen, it glided eerily, almost as if it were watching them. Then, as Carlos leaned over to get a better look, the second fin emerged, but it wasn't a tail. Panic set in. The beast had 2 massive dorsal fins, something no known shark possessed. The water around it darkened, as if something much larger lurked beneath the surface. Just as suddenly as it appeared, the monstrous creature vanished into the depths, leaving behind only swirling currents. To this day, Carlos swears it was no ordinary shark, but a prehistoric predator long thought extinct. Some believe it was a megalodon, while others insist it was something even stranger. Number 10. Square waves. This phenomenon is rare yet extremely dangerous. Most of these unusual waves reach the shore and break horizontally and parallel to the coastline. However, in some regions of the world, you may notice the creation of a chessboard-like pattern on the surface of the water. Vessels fare better against large waves when perpendicular to the waves. In square waves, vessels are more likely to be stuck in a dangerous way. If you look at these waves from above, it seems like there are grids underwater, forming square-shaped ripples. These patterns are most commonly observed in areas like the Isle of Rye in France, where the phenomenon attracts both tourists and scientists alike. The mesmerizing appearance of square waves often lures unsuspecting swimmers and surfers into the water, unaware of the hidden dangers beneath. The intersecting currents can create powerful whirlpools and sudden shifts in water movement, making it nearly impossible to swim or navigate safely. Even experienced sailors have reported feeling disoriented when caught in a cross sea, as the chaotic wave patterns make it difficult to predict the direction of the next swell. The phenomenon is also known to cause structural damage to smaller vessels, as the multidirectional forces can strain hulls and destabilize boats. Despite their beauty, square waves serve as a stark reminder of the ocean's unpredictability and the importance of respecting its power. However, cross-sea waves or square waves are not a result of any circumstance that's taking place below the water. They're actually a sea state of when generating waves that form non-parallel wave patterns. Waves generated by the new wind run at an angle to the old. A crosswell is generated when the wave systems are longer period swells rather than short period when generated waves. But dangerous and unpredictable, no less. The reason why square waves are dangerous is because they feature several currents coming from all angles. Number 9. Kayaking with crocs. This unexpected footage from Costa Rica shows this kayaker coming face to face with a crocodile, the largest reptile on Earth. The saltwater croc can grow to lengths surpassing 20 feet. This prehistoric creature is the apex predator of river ecosystems, found in a vast region around the world, including India to Papua New Guinea, all the way to Australia. Sri Lanka is home to around 2,500 to 3,500 of them, more than half of which are found in national parks. Fables about crocodiles are legendary, and as of late, the crocodiles that inhabit the river have been the subject of news. Sometimes they can even be found in urban areas. Experts believe that habitat loss and climate change are driving crocodiles closer to human settlements, increasing the likelihood of encounters. In some regions, crocodiles have been spotted basking on riverbanks near busy roads, or even swimming in canals. Despite their fearsome reputation, crocodiles play a vital role in maintaining the balance of their ecosystems by controlling populations of fish and other prey species. Conservationists are working to educate local communities about coexistence strategies, such as avoiding known crocodile habitats during nesting seasons. However, the sheer power and unpredictability of these reptiles make them a constant source of fear and fascination. Their bite force is the strongest of any animal on Earth, capable of crushing bones with ease, which is why they are often referred to as living dinosaurs. An increase in the number of crocodile attacks on people has been recorded in recent years, despite measures to prevent conflict between man and croc. Salties are aggressive, and there are many cases of deaths recorded due to their attacks. The saltwater crocodile is a large and opportunistic hypercarnivorous apex predator. It ambushes most of its prey and then drowns or swallows it whole. It's capable of prevailing over almost any animal that enters its territory, including other apex predators such as sharks, freshwater and saltwater fish, crustaceans, reptiles, birds, and mammals, including humans. It doesn't look like this croc has much interest in this kayaker. Number 8. Goblin shark. Its scary looks start with unusual coloring, from pinkish to purplish gray, with bright blue around its fins. The creature's muscles are flabby, its skeleton is mushy, and its weird skin is thin and transparent. Definitely a face only a mother could love. There's still a lot of mystery surrounding the life of these terrifying animals, the spooky goblin shark. But do we know where they live? The goblin shark has been known to lurk 5,000 feet below the Pacific, Atlantic, and Indian Oceans, and it likely hunts its prey by exploring electrical fields. Crazy, right? Scientists believe the goblin shark's long, flat snout is packed with electroreceptors, allowing it to detect the faintest movements of prey in the pitch-black depths. Its sluggish appearance is deceptive, as the goblin shark is capable of sudden bursts of speed when it senses prey nearby. The shark's unique jaw mechanism, known as slingshot feeding, is one of the most advanced predatory adaptations in the animal kingdom. When the jaws extend, they create a vacuum that sucks in prey, making escape nearly impossible. This feeding technique is so efficient that the goblin shark can catch fast-moving prey despite its otherwise slow demeanor. Despite its fearsome features, the goblin shark is rarely seen, and most of what we know comes from accidental captures in deep-sea fishing nets. Its elusive nature has made it a subject of fascination for marine biologists and cryptozoologists alike. But the strangest feature of this monster is its jaw. It can be extended to the length of its snout to help ambush fish, squid, and crustaceans. The goblin shark's jaws shoot out, racing forward at a whopping 10 feet per second, faster than any other shark. In fact, it's faster than most cobra snakes. At maximum extension, the jaws make up almost 10% of the shark's entire body. That's a huge chomp from a shark that grows to be over 10 feet long. The fish, however, is found in deep water and poses no threat to people. Just seeing one is scary enough. Number 7. Horrifying statues. At the end of Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives, the main character, Tommy Jarvis, vanquishes Jason Voorhees once more by literally chaining him to the bottom of Crystal Lake, returning him to the site of his original death as a child. Of course, horror icon Jason remains alive at the bottom of the lake, eventually returning for more murder in the subsequent film. That's Hollywood for you. No matter how much Jason Voorhees has scared us over the years, we can take solace in the fact that he's not real. The goalie mask-wearing, unstoppable slasher from the Friday the 13th franchise haunts dreams, and everyone knows he's merely a fictional character, right? Something tells us that knowledge isn't particularly comforting for scuba divers in Minnesota when they unexpectedly come across his statue at the bottom of a mine pit. The statue, eerily lifelike, is covered in algae and sediment, giving it an even more sinister, decayed appearance. Divers have reported feeling a mix of awe and terror as they approach the figure, its machete raised as if ready to strike. The murky water and dim lighting of the mine pit only add to the unsettling atmosphere, making the encounter feel like a scene straight out of a horror movie. Over the years, the statue has become a popular attraction for thrill-seeking divers, though some have expressed concerns about its environmental impact on the underwater ecosystem. Despite this, the Jason statue has gained a cult following, with many divers traveling specifically to experience the chilling sight firsthand. Klein's creation has even inspired similar underwater horror-themed installations in other locations, cementing its place as a unique blend of art and terror. He built this nightmarish, fantastic piece, replete with machete in hand. Then Klein placed it 120 feet at the bottom of a spot for divers in Crosby, Minnesota, specifically in a mine pit known as Luis. And yes, the Jason Voorhees statue survived. More video of the statue shows it looking like an absolute nightmare as you swim past. Number 6. Slender squid. Bigfin squids are one of the deep sea's more ethereal, unusual creatures. Their fins are up to 90% of the length of their body, and they have next-level long arms. This footage shows the big fin squid at a depth of 1.5 miles. One of the rarely seen squid loiters above the seafloor in the Gulf of Mexico. They were first discovered in 1907, and as you can see, the squid often will hold some of the arms at a 90-degree angle from the side of the body, which gives them the appearance of having elbows. The distinctive elbow-like kink is another subject of curiosity. It could be a way to prevent their spaghetti-like tentacles from getting entangled. These tentacles, which can grow up to 20 times the length of the squid's body, are among the longest appendages in the animal kingdom. Their translucent, ghostly appearance makes them nearly invisible in the deep sea, a useful adaptation for avoiding predators. The squid's slow, deliberate movements and delicate fins give it an almost alien-like quality, adding to its mystique. Scientists are still unsure how the big fin squid reproduces, as no eggs or juveniles have ever been observed in the wild. The deep-sea environment where they live is so extreme that studying them is a monumental challenge, requiring advanced technology and remotely operated vehicles. Despite these difficulties, every new sighting of the big fin squid provides valuable insights into its behavior and adaptations. The appendages come with microscopic suckers that can land them in sticky situations. Scientists believe that they feed by dragging their arms and tentacles along the seafloor, grabbing organisms off the floor. The video clip shows the monitor framed with pulsing impulse of time and positioning data. The clip from a Shell oil company arrived after a long trip and a few seconds of jerky camera work. The squid appears with its huge fins waving like elephant ears and its remarkable arms and tentacles trailing from elbow-like appendages. Number 5. Kraken wants to paddleboard. Giant squids are elusive, mysterious creatures that have starred in more than a few pirate legends. But this kraken seems to be in some distress. You can imagine having one try to steal your paddleboard while you're still riding it would feel a little too intense for most people's comfort, which probably makes this paddleboarder the almost victim of nautical robbery or the chillest dude on the planet. In the video, you can see the giant squid wrapping its tentacles around Taylor's board as he ties a rope around it to drag the big lug to shore. Normally, an encounter with a giant squid wouldn't materialize so easily with close contact, but this particular giant squid happened to be injured and was unable to swim away. Observers noted that the squid's skin had lost much of its natural coloration, a sign of stress or injury in cephalopods. Its massive eyes, which are among the largest in the animal kingdom, appeared cloudy, further indicating its weakened state. Marine biologists later speculated that the bite marks on its body could have been caused by a run-in with a sperm whale, one of the few predators capable of taking on a giant squid. The missing tentacles likely made it difficult for the squid to hunt or defend itself, leaving it vulnerable in the open water. Taylor's decision to bring the squid to shore was met with mixed reactions, with some praising his efforts to help the creature and others questioning whether it was the right course of action. Once on shore, the squid's immense size became even more apparent, with its remaining tentacles stretching several feet in length. The encounter has sparked renewed interest in the mysterious lives of giant squids, which remain one of the ocean's most enigmatic creatures. He recently shared the video chronicling a run-in with the injured giant squid in the waters of a coastal village about 20 miles north of Cape Town. In a Facebook comment on his profile explaining the encounter, it was made clear that he made the decision to wrangle the squid on shore after he saw that it was lethargic, covered in bite marks, and missing some of its tentacles. We doubt we'd be able to keep our cool on this paddleboard excursion. Number 4. Creepy colonies. Shocked divers discover a mysterious, giant glowing tube in Tasmanian waters. What is it? They found themselves a monster deep-sea worm, measuring more than 26 feet long and looking just like a giant windsock. They were diving off the coast in a stratovolcano when they discovered the gelatinous worm. Initially diving to record footage for the island, their focus was stolen by the hollow creature. What an incredible and unbelievable moment to capture on film. The worm can be seen moving delicately through the water, occasionally shuddering and pulsating, while the divers swim gently around it so as not to disturb it. These giant glowing sea worms aren't actually worms, though. They're pyrosomes, free-floating bodies made up of multiple tiny bodies to create one big body. Each tiny individual, called a zooid, is only a few millimeters long but works in perfect harmony with thousands of others to form the larger structure. Pyrosomes feed by filtering plankton and other microscopic organisms from the water, using cilia to draw food into their shared body. Their bioluminescence is thought to be a defense mechanism, possibly used to confuse predators or communicate with other pyrosomes. Divers have described the experience of encountering a pyrosome as surreal, with its glowing, pulsating form resembling something out of a science fiction movie. These creatures are typically found in warmer waters, but their presence in Tasmanian waters suggests they may be expanding their range due to changing ocean temperatures. Despite their size and eerie appearance, pyrosomes are completely harmless to humans and are considered one of the ocean's most fascinating oddities. Scientists are still studying their behavior and ecological role, as much about these creatures remains a mystery. They're called the unicorns of the sea, and they're soft like a feather boa. These pyrosomes are just another reminder of just how weird the ocean can be, weird and wild. One long pyrosome is actually a collection of thousands of clones, with each individual capable of copying itself and adding to the colony. And pyrosome members are physically connected, actually sharing tissues. They get their names from this feature, pyro, which means fire in Greek, and soma, which means body, fire bodies. Their blue-green light can be seen more than 100 feet away. Number 3. Eye of the fire. These bright orange flames jumping out of the water, resembling molten lava, were dubbed an eye of fire due to the blaze's circular shape as it raged a short distance from an oil rig platform. Video of fire breaking out of the Gulf of Mexico has gone viral. The fire reportedly broke out after a gas leak. It began in an underwater pipeline that connects to a platform at Pemex's flagship oil development, the company's most important, near the southern rim of the Gulf. The sight of flames erupting from the ocean surface left many stunned, with some comparing it to a scene from a disaster movie. Environmentalists quickly raised concerns about the potential long-term impact on marine ecosystems, as gas leaks and fires can release harmful chemicals into the water. The incident has reignited debates about the safety of offshore drilling and the risks associated with aging infrastructure in oil production. Experts have pointed out that such accidents highlight the urgent need for stricter regulations and better maintenance of underwater pipelines. Social media users expressed outrage, with many calling for accountability and transparency from Pemex regarding the cause of the leak and the steps being taken to prevent future incidents. The Eye of Fire has also become a symbol of the environmental risks tied to fossil fuel dependency, sparking renewed calls for investment in renewable energy sources. Despite the dramatic visuals, Pemex officials assured the public that the situation was under control and that no oil had spilled into the ocean. According to sources, workers had used nitrogen to control the fire, and the resolution was affected by an electrical storm and heavy rains. However, no injuries were reported, and production from the project was not affected. After the gas leak ignited about 5:15 a.m. local time, it was completely extinguished by 10:30 a.m. It's unclear how much environmental damage has been caused. However, they produce more than 40% of its 1.7 million barrels of daily crude oil in these waters. The fire took more than 5 hours to fully put out because this gas leak west of Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula broke out of the underwater pipeline, causing flames to appear to boil up to the surface and create what many called an eye of fire. Number 2. Ship graveyards. These islands were once part of the Spanish West Indies, explored by Magellan and later visited by Spanish merchants and missionaries. The low coral islands are surrounded by a remarkable sheltered reef, ideal for housing a navy. Today, the South Pacific's Caroline Islands harbors the ghost fleet of Truk Lagoon. In a surprise attack by American allies in World War II, approximately 250 aircraft were destroyed and more than 50 ships sunk. And most of the fleet remains in exactly the same spot it was left, largely forgotten by the world until the late 1960s. The lagoon is often referred to as an underwater museum, as the wrecks are not just ships but time capsules filled with artifacts from the war. Divers have discovered everything from gas masks and rifles to sake bottles and personal belongings of the soldiers who perished. Coral and marine life have since claimed the wrecks, turning them into vibrant artificial reefs teeming with fish, sharks, and other sea creatures. The juxtaposition of life and death in the lagoon creates an eerie yet beautiful experience for those who visit. Some of the wrecks, like the Fujikawa Maru, are so well preserved that divers can still see the aircraft stored in its cargo hold. However, the site is not without its risks, as unexploded ordnance and deteriorating structures pose significant dangers to divers. The lagoon also serves as a somber reminder of the human cost of war, with many divers reporting a sense of reverence as they explore the sunken fleet. Jacques Cousteau's famous 1969 film Lagoon of Lost Ships explored the wreck-littered lagoon, and many of the sunken ships were then still full of bodies. As wreck divers brought attention to the site, Japan began recovery efforts, and many bodies were removed and returned to Japan for burial. A few, however, remain. Many of the wrecks are visible through the shallow, clear water. Today, it's widely considered the pinnacle of wreck diving, a must-visit destination for both recreational and tech wreck aficionados. Number 1. Deep-sea aliens. A video of a bizarre creature that transforms underwater has surfaced on the internet, leaving the netizens completely shocked. The video has been captured by a remotely operating vehicle at a depth of 3,753 feet in the Indian Ocean. You never know what you're going to find when you go that deep. The video begins with the object floating in the water. Its physical attributes are not similar to any of the known species. As the video progresses, we see the object slowly transform into a black ball-like shape, and sometimes it opens up from the round structure and then elongates. Marine biologists speculate that the creature could be a type of siphonophore or comb jelly, both of which are known for their bioluminescent displays and unusual body structures. The glowing stripes and shifting colors are likely a form of communication or a defense mechanism to confuse predators in the pitch-black depths. Some experts believe the creature's ability to change shape and emit light could also be used to attract prey, luring them closer before striking. The deep-sea environment is so poorly understood that even seasoned researchers are often left baffled by such encounters. The creature's behavior and appearance have sparked debates about whether it could be an entirely new species, as many deep-sea organisms remain undiscovered. This discovery highlights just how little we know about the ocean's depths, which are often compared to the unexplored vastness of outer space. Slowly, it can be seen spreading its fin-like structures. Towards the end of the video, the object gets caught up in the output from the ROV thrusters. It's majestically drifting, shape-shifting, glowing, and majestically does a couple of cute spins and gets brutally ripped apart and tossed in the void. Stunned by the video, netizens took over the comment section, and since being uploaded, the video has managed to gather millions of views. And we can see why. Maybe outer space is not the only place aliens are reported to exist. They could be living in our oceans. If you're not at least a little nervous about diving into the ocean after this, then we've failed. Just kidding. But seriously, we've all learned a lot, and that's what truly matters. If you're ready to keep the adventure going, don't go anywhere. Just hit that like button and subscribe first. See you in the next video.